Hey mommies, how are you? So I hope that everyone had a wonderful weekend. It was a little bit weird for me because we've been on vacation for the last few weeks and doing stuff. So my kids kind of expect that they want something really exciting to keep them entertained. But anyway, it was fun. But I wanted to I'm a little bit kind of like upset. Something happened this weekend in some support groups that I belong to and stuff. It was a mom that was she was kind of a little bit distressed and she didn't know what to do because she was having issues with her husband because he kind of keeps pressuring her or like doing certain things that make her feel like maybe she's doing something wrong when she's breastfeeding, and it's because he has that mentality that breasts are sexual, and that kind of breastfeeding is like like a sexual act. So basically she was trying to like reach out and get advice and stuff because when she's breastfeeding her son and he like strokes her breast or twiddles with the other nipple or something like that, he gets like super upset and he like moves the hand off the breast and he's like always telling her, hey, you know, breasts are for eating, they're not for playing. Make sure the baby doesn't do that. That's wrong. You're going to traumatize him and he's going to grow up with all this like sexual feelings for you and you're his mom, and that's like not right. So I kind of wanted to bring this about because again, it's so important before we have a baby, and if breastfeeding is something that we want to do, to have these conversations with your other half. I think I wish I had done a lot of talking with my husband about breastfeeding before we had a baby and before we actually started to breastfeed. Not because of like he would think that it was sexual or something like that, but he thought that it was going to be something that was going to be really easy. I guess he couldn't understand why it was so hard, why you needed to prepare, why just the support part from your partner is so important. So I just wanted to kind of address that. And I know there's a lot of new mommies in the groups and a lot of mommies that are pregnant. So just again, the importance of communication with your other half about breastfeeding, about your breastfeeding goals, because that other person on the other, your husband is your support system. You guys are like in it for the long haul. So that's the person. If there's one person in the world that's going to kind of get you through those rough patches and through those moments of despair and get you through it and like, you know what, tomorrow's going to be another day, let's just go to bed, just relax, you're doing a great job at this, you got this, is your husband. Okay, so it's really important that before you have a baby, you can do all this preparation so that they know how important breastfeeding is, the benefits that it has for your child, and how important it is to you as well, and the support that you need. And the other thing is, the more images they're exposed to breastfeeding, if you take them to a breastfeeding support group, that's like awesome, because you're going to see moms in action breastfeeding, and that breastfeeding is okay to do in public, and they're going to feel so much more comfortable with you as a breastfeeding mom than the sexual part of it, because that's how we're brought up in our society, and especially men, that's how men are brought up, with things like Playboy and all this sexual images. Our media, we don't have to go too far. Media advertising, just the regular Head and Shoulders commercial or any type of commercial, everything is so sexualized around breasts and around women that they grow up with kind of this blindfold that breasts are just a sexual thing, and that if your baby touches them or if your baby's twiddling with your nipple, then that's like a sexual thing. So the more you expose your support system, the people that are going to be your support system when you're breastfeeding and when you have a baby, the more you expose them to a breastfeeding culture, the more supportive they're going to be, the more chances you're going to have to reach your breastfeeding goals and reach your prolonged breastfeeding beyond a year, things like that, and you're not going to have all that aggravation. So it's really, really, really important that us as women, you know, that advocate breastfeeding, that are passionate about breastfeeding, that we build up and we kind of bring this information to our support system, and especially I think the men around us, I think it's super important that they are in tune with us. I'm like super big on that, like with my brothers. There's a lot of men in my family, my uncles, cousins, my nephews, stuff like that. I'm like super, you know, when I'm not afraid to just sit down next to them, pop out my boob and put on my baby, and I'm like talking with them. And if they ask questions, sometimes they have questions like, oh my God, does your baby breastfeed all day? He's on your boob all day, why? So I'm like, okay, this is why, blah, blah, blah. I initiate the conversation, and let's not feel uncomfortable to talk with men about breastfeeding. And if they're curious, if they have questions, then embrace that, because you're doing like, I don't know, a womanly duty to his future wife, to his future daughter too. So it's up to us to bring about this breastfeeding culture to society, and also to our, you know, our men in our lives. So just wanted to bring that because I was so like frustrated with this particular husband. I mean, how dare he do that to his wife? How dare he sexualize breasts, and in particular her breasts? They're hers. It's your child. It doesn't fit in my head. But I do kind of, when I do like a step back, I can understand, and it's because of this thing with society and how they've sexualized breasts. So the poor men, they don't even have a fighting chance. We have to help them. Bye, mommies. Let me know your stories. Have you experienced something similar like this with any men in your life, or any members of your family, and how have you tackled it? How did it make you feel also? Was there anything, you know, maybe was it something that kind of fueled you up to be more passionate, or did it bring you down? How did it make you feel? It's important that we talk about this, mommies. Bye.